Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Name the dog, Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in pints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is my galaxy-hopping friend, Frank.
Woohoo! How's it going, buddy?
That's pretty good. Pretty good. What you drinking there?
Well, it's not very galaxy hoppy. It's not really full of galaxy hops. Kind of wish we had a beer that had galaxy hops.
Me too.
Just for that joke. But no, it is
another time.
it's a traditional, tried and true manly beer. It's your good old Guinness Extra Stout.
It is delicious. I actually really like the bottle shape of these.
I do too.
Yeah, it's really good. It's very good. And some people say that Guinness isn't the same here as it is in Ireland. That's true.
You've said that.
It is
yeah,
not the same.
It
But I still like
tastes
it.
better when it's fresh.
And, there are some things that, like, fish is better when it comes right from the ocean
Sure.
as opposed to being frozen, shipped halfway across the world.
Mm-hmm.
Or, it is what it is. And Guinness is no exception.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well,
So, anyway, last time we left off talking about Star Wars, and now
Force Awakens.
we're just going to pick up, continuing talking about Star Wars.
we're going to reawaken the Force.
Indeed, because there's
a lot we didn't get to talk about
There's
last time.
tons we can get to talk about.
Yeah.
Actually, let's start with that. Let's talk about Snoke's conversation with Kylo Ren.
Yes.
From the trailer. There has been an awakening. Have you felt it?
Have you felt it? Yes.
Arguably, when this movie was coming out, do you remember we were like, everybody's going to be Force sensitive? There's a giant awakening.
Theory, yes.
That was a theory. There's a giant awakening, and everyone's going to be Force sensitive.
Right.
There's going to be Jedi or Force people everywhere. Or it's just Rey. It's
yeah.
cool.
I would say here's how I saw that. So I actually I didn't tell you this yesterday as we recorded this yesterday. I re-listened to our impromptu Star Wars trailer
really?
chat. Yeah,
Did you tally how much we were right?
What
or
we
how
get
much
right and get wrong? We didn't make that many predictions, but we were actually we did pretty decent. We did pretty decent. But one thing that we mentioned was how these films always have, like, the titles are always like double entendres. They mean a couple different things. A New Hope means a few different things. Empire Strikes Back, okay, that one's pretty straightforward. Return of the Jedi, also straightforward. But, like, Phantom Menace, couple things going on
Attack
there.
of the Clones.
Yeah. So there's usually, like, a couple of different meanings to...
So, like, 3 out of the 6 is double entendre.
Yeah, about half of them.
Yeah.
And this one, I think... No, now number 7 is another one that fits that description, because the Force Awakens, right? You've got an awakening in Rey, but you've got the Force kind of being forgotten, right? And like to the point where Rey and Finn were like, so it is all real, it's all true, and Han telling you, yeah, it's all true. Which we predicted that like it seems like maybe it's all just a legend, and I mean that was a pretty easy conclusion to draw from what we saw Han say in the trailer,
right?
But so we've got that meaning. We've got the Rey kind of becoming, finding out she's Force sensitive. We've got even Kylo Ren finding out, like, feeling this call from the light side of the Force. That's new. We've got just finding Luke. We've got a few different things.
That's it's so funny. That's kind of the awakening, because if you watch the first 6 films, the light side is kind of passive. Like, it doesn't call to people the same way as the dark side does, like if you look at, like, it does to, like, get you going, but then, like, once you're in, it kind of just stops. It hits a plateau, and then the dark side starts to, like,
it's more
creep
seductive.
More seductive, starts to creep in. But it's interesting that you've never seen the light side being like, but no, come to the light side.
Yeah,
we have Pilates.
Yeah, the light side,
like.
Pilates. Dark side is cookies.
Yeah.
Light side is Pilates.
Pilates. Yep.
That seems fitting.
Yep.
Yeah, it does. That's true. Yeah, the light side has never really been painted as seductive before, like it is here, where Kylo Ren is like, "I'm being torn apart," which is the most emo thing anyone can ever say. But he actually says it.
No. What the most emo thing is? Talking to your dead grandfather's helmet, but then taking off your own helmet and putting it in your grandfather's ashes.
Yeah,
that's the most emo thing I've ever seen.
True. I still want to know where he got that from.
My understanding is, I remember that the scene, there's the Knights of Ren scene and it's raining and blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people speculated before the movie came out that maybe he goes to Endor and gets the stuff. My thought during watching this movie is, why wouldn't Luke just take all of that with him? It would make sense for Luke to like keep a little urn of his father's ashes or the helmet or something like that. To me, like, why would he just leave it on a different planet or the moon of Endor?
You're right.
Specific.
So you think that Luke had like a little shrine to Darth Vader or whatever, or something like
shrine,
that?
Even if he's in the back of the closet,
okay,
behind
whatever.
The duster,
had his own. He took his father's remains with him.
He took his father's remains with him when he left Endor,
and Kylo Ren stole them. Okay.
I'll
buy that.
To me, because if Kylo Ren spent all this time training with Luke,
so what we saw there was him and the Knights of Ren
massacring the Padawans.
Got it.
I wonder if he calls them Padawans.
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder if it's like New Jedi Order, or if it's like we go back to the way the Jedi Order was before, or if it's more like its own new thing.
Well, I'd have to imagine that Luke was being guided in some way by Force ghosts of Yoda and Obi-Wan, and I mean, because you can hear them in Rey's scene.
Yes.
You can hear Yoda. You can hear two different Obi-Wans.
Yes.
Yep. You can hear Rey.
It was almost 3, by the way. It was almost 3, by the way. I'll tell you.
No, go ahead. Continue.
Let's talk about that scene. And you finish your point, but we'll talk about the scene afterwards.
Okay. So, what did we originally start talking about, though? Because that's all.
So Kylo Ren and taking off the helmet, putting it next to his grandfather's helmet.
Puts it. So the first time I saw that scene, and he like puts it in the ashes, I'm like, why do you have a bunch of ashes in your room? That seems weird.
Why do you have like a gravel pit?
Yeah.
What is that?
Right, that's so weird. Is that like because your head is sweaty and you need to dry it off? You're drying off the inside of your helmet with all those ashes?
Just dry it off with your perfect hair.
Right. Oh, his hair is so perfect. So perfect.
Apparently that helmet has conditioner in it.
Yeah. Well, the future and the past.
Yeah, exactly.
And so...
Flash Gordon.
Yeah, so...
He had good hair.
If that's... It's so weird, like, things that, like, we suspend our disbelief on.
Yeah.
When you take off helmet, you're like, your hair wouldn't look like that. Anyway, it's tiny little hair dryers. Yeah.
That's why it makes that whoosh noise when he takes it off. He goes, dries his hair,
that's
and then he pulls it off.
That's it. But no. So the second time, and he like sets it down. I'm like, oh, Darth Vader's ashes.
That makes sense.
That's pretty awesome. Actually.
That is pretty twisted, but awesome.
Yeah, he's really twisted.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, which makes me like him more. Like he kills Han Solo, his father, and then basically, I'm assuming paralyzes Finn. Like, slashed his spine.
Yeah, I don't think permanently. I think
maybe not permanently, but Finn's definitely going to have.
Throw him in a back to tank. I'll be fine.
Yeah, he wasn't in one though.
No,
I don't think
so.
Yeah, he was lying on a table.
I think he just knocked him out. I don't think he paralyzed him permanently, but
he did some pretty.
Yeah,
He got slashed in the back. He got slashed in the spine with a lightsaber.
But I don't think it's permanent damage. I think he'll be.
No, I would be surprised if it was.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine.
I'd be surprised if he was paralyzed, but it wouldn't surprise me if whatever happened was permanent. Like Luke lost a hand and that was permanent, but he got another hand. Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess.
So
yeah.
you can give it. Here's a new spine. Like that's fine. Maybe a spine will be metal.
Sure,
and that'll be a thing. But
can't go through airports very easily anymore.
No. Do you think there are airports? I don't think so. Like
Mos Eisley Spaceport.
Spaceport.
Yes.
Not an airport though. Like I guess you don't have.
You think after a couple Death Stars come along, they suddenly have like beefed up security at spaceports?
Yeah, I don't even know how you would do that. Like, would it even matter? Like, oh well, the spaceport security is real good here, but if the Death Star comes around the corner, what are we gonna do?
We're all SOL.
Yeah, right. So there has been an awakening and blah blah blah. Have you felt it?
Yeah. Good talk.
I lost it. Yeah, I lost it.
Well,
it's okay.
Think about that because I do want to come back to that if you had a point. But can we talk about Rey?
Yeah, we haven't talked about Rey.
She's the main character of the movie, and I think we in an effort to differentiate ourselves from other conversations, we didn't talk about her in the first half of our conversation, but we definitely have to give her devote some time to her because like this is a new generation, a new protagonist, a female protagonist, but they don't draw attention to like, look, she's a girl and she can do all this stuff. It's like, no, she's just a person who does stuff.
She's a person who does stuff.
Right.
I agree. Arguably better than a lot of other people in the Star Wars universe.
I'm gonna say the best and like the best protagonist in a Star Wars film so far. The most human, the most realistically characterized,
instantly likable and good at her job.
Yeah. I don't think you would ever have seen a George Lucas movie where the main character was introduced like that in complete silence. She didn't say a word for several minutes. Her first words were to Tito when he was trying to steal.
Yep, that's right.
BB-8,
and they were in a different language.
They were in a different language, exactly. But even so, like it was several minutes into having seen her that you hear her say anything, and when you, before you do, you know so much about her. All these little character moments teach you so much what you need to know about this character. You see her doing what she does, and you figure out, okay, so she's stealing stuff from this old Star Destroyer. Okay, what's this all about? Oh, okay, she trades in the parts for food. Wow, she's really underfed. Like this guy gave her a quarter portion for this work that she did. That's crazy. She's even like going past that scene where she's like loading up her little speeder.
And speed drive, yeah.
And she goes past that like buzzer. That's a buzzard that's like picking at whatever parts. Like she's leaving parts behind because she can't physically carry them all. And even with the amount of stuff that she's physically carrying, it's more than she should be able to carry. It's only a quarter portion of a meal. She lives in an old AT-AT. She's scraping on the wall. You know, she's been there for a long, long time. She's scraping on the wall, like how many days it's been. Like you learn all this stuff about her, and she hasn't even said a word yet.
Yep. That
amount of subtlety, but still communicating, showing, not telling, you wouldn't have gotten if this was a George Lucas film. And that's coming from someone who I very much respect George Lucas and think that he gets a lot of crap he doesn't deserve sometimes. But I still can recognize that's not the way he would have done it. And this was done better, I think, than he would have done.
I actually think that this movie could have actually used a bit of George. It could have used a bit of George flair.
Okay.
Because he has, despite his shortcomings in some places, he has a steel pecker. That's what it's called. That bird.
The buzzard.
The buzzard is called a steel pecker. Thanks. He has an uncanny eye for visuals in a way that JJ is very good, but I think there was something that was missing from. There are just some really beautiful things that George Lucas can do with the camera that you don't see many people do, and I think that that part was missing from this movie particularly. But you're right. I don't think we would have seen her introduction as quiet as it was. Tells you a lot about her being a loner and all those types of different things, but kind of being silly at the same time. Like she's still a child. Like she's eating her dinner and just puts on the helmet and continues to eat. She's just like la la la.
Yeah, right. She's got the little doll of the
X-wing pilot.
X-wing pilot. Yeah. So a lot of cool moments. Of like sort of childishness and like there is something just very, I'm not saying childish, but childlike when she puts on that helmet and she's sort of like, I'm a pilot. Like she just kind of sits there,
like,
content with her like
munching on her food.
Yeah.
I actually really liked that little. I really liked that the bread thing that she picked up and ate. That liquid, to me was bread. The best special effect in this movie.
Cool. Yeah.
It was like, what did you do? How did you make that? I've seen this movie 4 times.
I can't figure it out.
And every time I went, I want to know how they did that. I don't care about the rest. The rest I can figure out. That's the thing that intrigued me.
If I get to talk to J.J. Abrams ever, that's going to be one of the first questions.
My question. How
did you do the bread?
How did you make that bread?
That was the blue milk of this. Powdered bread was the blue milk of this movie.
Oh, my God. You're right. There was a thing.
That was the blue milk.
Powdered bread.
Yeah. The powdered bread.
Well, even the blue milk, I know how they made it.
Well, yeah.
But
yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
But that was like the food, the oddity food of this movie, I think.
Yeah.
It was really, really, there were some really, really cool moments like that. And Ray had a bunch of them. I love her theme too. We should talk about the music a little bit later, but
yeah, we can talk about the music.
I love her theme a lot.
Yeah.
I
like how capable she is.
I like how capable, and I like how she doesn't know any different. I like how when Finn like wants to hold her hand, she's like, "Why are you holding my hand? Stop
holding my hand."
Or like even when he's knocked out and she's like, he wakes up, he's like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "Yeah, come on, let's go." Like why wouldn't I be? Yeah. I love that she doesn't expect otherwise. She's just like, "What? Why are you worried about me? What?
Yeah,
I don't get it."
But she's still kind of like a little naive, like when she looks at him and goes, "I've never met a resistance fighter."
Yeah,
before.
she's excited at the idea of
this little like squiggle that she does.
Right,
like,
right.
Yeah, resistance fighter.
Right.
Yeah, that's what we look like. We all look.
Yeah.
Some of us look different. Some of us look the same. Yeah.
And that's again like the childlike wonder.
Yeah, but even she doesn't. Nobody say like even Princess Leia had to be saved from the Death Star. She doesn't. She doesn't have to get saved.
She doesn't need to be saved.
She frees herself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even when they go back to free her to get her.
Yeah.
She takes care of herself.
Yeah, she's fine.
They find her, but they don't free her.
She probably wouldn't have gotten off the planet, or maybe she would have.
Maybe she would have.
Yeah.
Honestly, she probably would have.
She probably
would have found a way.
Yeah. If they weren't ready to, blow it up, then yeah.
She's a pilot.
Yeah, she is a pilot. And I like how it just kind of like Luke. Luke was just a pilot. That's what he did. That's the Star Wars universe. Most people are pilots because they have to drive things.
It's like driving. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you're a pilot? Yes, of course I'm a pilot. Like, let's just go into the quad jumper. We'll be fine, But I liked, what's funny? Her flying the Millennium Falcon by itself, which was a really cool sequence, all on its own. And I actually liked Finn using the gun turrets and the original graphics, and whatever reason, all of these years later, I'm like, yeah, it looks about right. Looks modern.
Yeah.
The
wireframe look,
isn't that strange?
Well, even the TIE fighter that he was in, that was presumably the newest, most up to date technology of that time, didn't look that much different. The visualization there,
no, his graphics are pretty much
the same, a little better, but not much.
Even the resistance base has that big table, and it's like
the big hollow table.
They have some holograms, but they had those in Jedi. And
right, yeah, it looked pretty much the same as it looked in Jedi.
Pretty much the same. It's very cool. I liked that they weren't like, let's skip forward and like, oh, the amazing new technology. Like, it's pretty subtle. It's pretty different.
The only thing that looked like way different was the hologram of Snoke. Was like, it looked like he was there, and then you were like, oh, that is a hologram.
Yeah,
oh.
That's what.
Which again,
hologram technology.
In 30 years, I could see that changing.
But it's funny because I remember watching Phantom Menace back in '99. And seeing the holograms in those and being like, oh, they don't look as good. Like,
right.
Like there's no colorization. It's just blue.
Which makes sense.
And there's a lot of ripple effects and like all those
static
different things.
And stuff,
static. And then you get Jedi and New Hope and it's better. It's color and, they don't ripple the same way.
Right.
And then you get this and they just look like red.
Yeah.
That's like subtle progression to the max.
I like that.
I like it quite a bit. I hope the hologram thing doesn't become like a Mission Impossible face-off thing, where it's like because they look so real now,
or like a life model decoy.
Yeah, they look so real. Like we could use them for other things.
I hope they don't pull that gag.
Yeah,
but yeah,
well, who knows?
Never know.
But going back to Rey, people have said that her use of the Force is a little fast.
I disagree.
I also disagree. And so good conversation.
So here I can lay out my reasons. So the first time she flies the Falcon, people said that she was too good. People are using the term Mary Sue, which is
flying the Falcon. That's the thing I wanted to say. I'm glad that you said that. Go ahead.
So I was just going to say she crashes scrapes the Falcon a bunch.
Yes, she does.
That's the very first thing we see her do, really. When she embarks on this adventure.
Just as it's very difficult without a co-pilot.
Right.
Which is, to me, like the first time you've ever given reason for them being a co-pilot.
I freaking know, right?
Yeah, I'm like,
that's what Chewie does.
That's what Chewie's doing. He's like doing all this other stuff.
Oh, okay. So he's like getting ready for the jump to lightspeed, and he's like putting the shields up, and he's like, okay, cool.
Because it's on the other side of the cockpit.
Right,
and there's a lot of, like, that's the first time there's ever given me reason, like, why you need a co-pilot.
There's just too many instruments and too many things to do that one person can't do it all. That makes sense.
Yeah, in a ship that size.
Right, exactly.
And that's also maybe why you have R2 units in smaller ships or astromechs, because they're doing all that work that a co-pilot would do.
Yep.
Amazing.
I'll make you
amazing.
Explain something. That's a very like Jeff Johns like retro explanation of like that just fits.
Oh yeah, it totally does. Like, but nobody just took the time to think 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Like here's why yellow was his weakness the whole time. Oh, okay, got it.
Oh,
okay,
God,
cool,
great.
Yeah, but so you see her struggle there. You see her struggle. She gets captured by Kylo Ren the first time that she fights him. There's a bunch of times that she like messes up. She lets the Rothars free. In Han's freighter, she makes some big mistakes, life-threatening mistakes.
Yeah, I agree. But the things that she's good at, like she's good at ships and flying. So
she knows how to fly ships.
So was Anakin.
Right.
So was Luke. That's part of the Skywalker.
Luke shouldn't like. Luke knows less, as far as we're told. Like, is less skilled than she is. He shouldn't.
Yeah, that's right.
He shouldn't be as good a fighter or any of that. As far as we know, he doesn't have any like combat training. She knows how to fight with her staff.
Right. Yeah. That's so. Why would Luke ever have combat training? He doesn't have a need for it.
Right.
He gets taken out by Tusken Raider like that.
Right. Right.
And that's just the. But Luke. This is the cool part. What I liked, and you've seen comparisons to this a few times already from other places. But Empire Strikes Back, Luke goes in still pretty not sure how to use a lightsaber.
True.
Like. Still not like that's not something he was really learning.
Like he used it in the cave.
Yeah,
that's kind of it.
That's kind of it,
as far as we know.
And the Wampa,
and against the remote.
And I mean,
thing.
sure there is like the comics and books are coming out and all that stuff. But like as far as we know, Luke's not a very skilled.
The first time he goes up against Vader,
even when he pulls it out in Jedi, he's like madly swinging.
Yeah. Well.
Maybe that's
on Jabba's sail barge.
Maybe it's more 80s choreography.
Yeah, I think so. On Jabba's sail barge, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. So, but anyway, but the whole point of the Vader fight is that Vader starts fighting him one-handed, like you're not worth my time. And then as the fight progresses, Luke gets a couple of hits in, and Vader's like breathing hard and he's struggling, and it's like Luke has learned through the Force to be a better fighter through the progression of this fight.
But my point there is, you could argue that he learned too fast. Whereas Rey starts from a place of knowing things and learns more over the course of this film. Like she's starting with the amount of with more experience even than he had already in Empire.
Yes.
So to say that she shouldn't be able to hold her own against Kylo Ren,
I disagree.
I disagree. I think she held up, pretty well. And then when she had her like Force meditation moment there, that's when she really came back and really got some good hits in. And
right, she's playing defense the whole time.
Exactly, she was playing defense. She wasn't getting any hits in. She was just using it as a thing to block and defend herself. And then she does that little Force meditation, and then she suddenly gets her second wind and gets some good jabs in.
Yep. I agree. Well, the thing with Luke is that, like, if Luke can learn so quickly through the Force, there is no reason, like you said, like after the meditation, that she shouldn't be able to either, because she's not Luke. She's not as petulant or as clearly she's got all the patience in the world. All she does is sit and wait.
That's been her entire existence.
That's right, which is the opposite of Anakin and Luke, who are very like
antsy.
And she's not antsy. She's very calm most of the time.
She's already more mature and more disciplined than they are.
Yes, exactly. And so, which is so that's why I don't think. Plus, Kylo Ren got shot by a bowcaster, which we saw throw people across a room.
I noticed. Yeah, I noticed that they made a point of showing us that this weapon is super powerful.
Right.
Through stormtroopers across the room a couple times.
Yep.
And then it knocked him back. It wounded him.
Yeah.
But he was still swinging.
Right. Exactly. Which tells you a lot about Kylo Ren even at that time too. So yeah, that's why I have no problem with the way that I have no problem with the way that
Neither do I.
It
makes perfect sense for me.
Plus, even for, like, when I go see a Star Wars movie, I want to see Jedi fight. That's like one of my main things about Star Wars. So if you were going to give me, like, if the movie was only going, the way they set it up, if they were only going to give you Kylo Ren versus Finn, who's definitely not Force sensitive, say,
he holds a lightsaber like a baseball bat.
Yeah, he does hold it like a baseball bat. That's an excellent way of putting it. And he's had some melee training. Like, yeah.
Also, speaking of melee, so that stormtrooper who yells at him and calls him a traitor, and then throws his blaster aside to pull out his melee weapon.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know why you'd do that instead of just shooting him in the back, but okay. Let's say there's some honor involved or whatever, and you want to take down your opponent honorably. He has this melee thing. I don't know what you'd call it. Maybe it's in the visual dictionary. I don't know.
It actually is. It's it's a stun suppressor, like a police baton.
Got it.
It's even shaped the same way.
Okay.
Like a nightstick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apparently, this thing is impervious to lightsabers.
Like the General Grievous's robots. Like his droids.
So it's a little different, though. It's a little bit different because theirs are more like staffs.
Yeah, but it's the same. But I think it's the same electrical technology.
Okay. It's just, it seems to me like, why wouldn't they have more of those?
Maybe they do.
Maybe. I don't know. But why wouldn't we see more of them? Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Well,
whatever. That was just a small thing.
Okay. Well,
why are we seeing this for the first time now?
Well, I don't think they existed until the First Order.
But if it's the same thing as Grievous,
yeah, maybe they're expensive.
Okay, now you're just making up reasons.
Z6 Riot Control Baton.
Riot Control Baton. Okay, so it's a riot control weapon.
Yep. Collapsible conductive contact vanes, adhesive grip, magnetically pairs with trooper gloves.
Interesting.
Yeah. Worlds within First Order territory are ruled with cruel authority, and stormtroopers are the first line of punishment for anyone who needs to be reminded of this. To suppress unruly civilians, stormtroopers are trained in riot control tactics and assigned specialized non-lethal equipment to batter their opponents into submission.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you don't see them carry it around all the time because that's not necessary all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought it was interesting. But yes, Finn is clearly trained in hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah. Because these stormtroopers are way more effective than any of the stormtroopers.
Yeah, yeah. Some of them even have aim.
Yeah.
Right?
They really shot people.
For real. They shot Chewbacca. They got some good shots.
No,
in.
they didn't. No. Conja Club or the Guavian Death Gang shot Chewbacca.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right. Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, regardless of that, though, they did shoot some people and actually hit them. I mean, they killed that whole village at the beginning.
Right.
So yeah, they can actually shoot in this one. I think Captain Phasma actually maybe has some effective tactics.
The Boba Fett of the new Star Wars movies.
What you mean? The person in a really cool suit who just like
does nothing?
Does nothing? Yeah.
Nothing. I was that actually. I think I got mad at that.
That did annoy me a little bit. I thought we'd at least say
because we all know how I feel about Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Boba Fett's cool because he looks cool, but the whole mythology that rose up around him was purely because he looked cool. Like, right. And then they were like, "Oh, people like his look. Let's write some novels about him." Like, that's what we're talking. That's what we're dealing with. Phasma, though, I did. I think I probably felt about Phasma the way a lot of people felt about Boba Fett the first time they saw him, because like I liked the way she carried herself. I liked the way she carried her weapon. I like Gwendolyn Christie's voice. Like I just like all.
Yeah,
I like all of that. And I thought this was a really cool character that was unfortunately kind of wasted. But I don't think
Kathleen Kennedy has said that she's coming back for you.
I was gonna say I will eat my hat if she's dead. Like there's no way they actually threw her in a crash compactor and she died. Like there's no way.
No. Well, even if they did throw her in, if they threw her in with her helmet, all she'd have to be is like, "Yo, someone open that door. Thanks, I'm out." Like the end.
Right.
Who cares? Fun fact from this dictionary, her armor, the chrome armor that she wears, is made from Emperor Palpatine's Naboo yacht. That was salvaged.
Interesting.
That's where her chrome armor comes from, which is super cool. Apparently, she's also not really a captain. She has a higher rank than that. But because she wants to keep command of the direct control of the stormtroopers the way that she does, she keeps that title. Yeah, or something like that. Yes, I would really like to see her come back because there's a trifecta for the New Order. There's Phasma, there's Hux, and there's Kylo Ren, all under Snoke. And we got a lot of Kylo Ren. We got some Hux and almost no Phasma.
Very little Phasma.
I'd really like to see more Hux and Phasma.
So the three of them are equals. Is that what we're supposed to?
They all have different roles, but
they're like the same level.
They're basically your same level. Actually, I think Kylo Ren exists outside of that level, like Darth Vader existed outside of that level.
But it's a similar. I got the same.
Be more like you have two Tarkins. Or something like that.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, they're on the same plane.
And Darth Vader exists
different titles,
on that
but
plane with them, but he does not.
It's more of a dotted line in an org chart. To use corporate speak. So I got the vibe between Vader and Hux.
You mean Ren and Hux?
Sorry, yes, Ren and Hux. His mission is complete.
Yeah,
basically. the same vibe that I got between Tarkin and Vader, where they're like, this guy is part, like he is, Hux is part of the actual hierarchy, part of the ranks, whereas Kylo Ren is outside, but still like the right hand man of the top guy.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. And I think this movie doesn't always show you the best when it needs to tell you something. That I think it did really well.
Yeah.
It gives
that was another one of those echoes we talked about last time, where it's like, this is very much echoing this character dynamic from A New Hope.
Well, it's funny because you never even see Tarkin or anybody besides Vader talk to the Emperor.
Yeah, you're right.
And so he is the only one. And so it's really interesting to see Hux talk to Snoke in that way,
That's true. That is different.
Because there's this rivalry between them.
Absolutely. They're trying to tear each other down in front of Snoke the whole time. Which you better believe is what he wants. Like he wants them pitting them against each other.
Yeah.
It's absolutely by design.
It's only going to build them better or whatever else. Yeah. I agree. And I think Phasma is missed from this equation. Apparently Gwendolyn Christie really fought for that role. Oh. It didn't have to be a girl, and she really went for it.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm glad that she did. And I just hope they give her some. I hope they give her something.
Me too.
Yeah, because I would be fine if I watched her do cool things later, and this movie was just the introduction.
Yeah, that's fine. It doesn't have to be the star of every movie she's in.
No, and this movie had to do a lot. Like it had to give you the old characters, it had to give you the new characters, make you like the new characters, and there was so much.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, so
it had to establish a lot. I feel like, how you watch A New Hope and you realize things were getting set up that you didn't even think about, like didn't even realize were going to be a thing. Even by the time you get to episode 6, let alone episodes 1, 2, and 3, like there's other things that start to make more sense, like Clone Wars, all that stuff makes sense, obviously, but just the relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin, like that kind of stuff. You get to understand. Oh, okay, that's what happened with Anakin and Vader and all that stuff. When you get to episode 6, I think we're gonna have more moments like that in the episodes 8 and 9, where things that were maybe one line of dialogue in this film will turn out to be very much more significant in those films.
Yeah. I think so.
In ways that we can't understand now. We can't even think of now.
I agree. No, we haven't really talked about at all is Han and Chewie.
Yeah. I've been kind of, that's like the elephant in the room.
I'm not even talking about the death. We haven't talked about the two of them at all.
I was like, they were like my favorite part of the movie in a lot of ways.
I think their relationship was my favorite part. I think they were better together in this movie than they've ever been in the first 3 movies in the movies together.
We got to see Han Solo do his Han Soloing.
It's the first time you've ever seen him be a smuggler.
Yeah.
Apart from taking people, which is not really smuggling. Although they were wanted, so I guess he smuggled Obi-Wan and Luke off the planet.
But yeah, it's the first time we've actually seen him do his Han Solo thing.
Yeah,
we've heard about it.
Yeah. Ganja Club. Good
to see you.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Every time.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. He had all of them. Did you just call me Solo? Yeah, he had
sorry, Han, Mr. Solo.
Yeah, he had a lot of those moments. Even the way he was like, "Hey, Maz,"
Yeah.
Oh, really? You're cold?
That's not how the Force works.
Yeah, I love that. I loved when he dropped his jacket, and then when they go back and Chewie picks it up and hands it to him. And he just kind of looks at him like,
"What?
Thank you." Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Yes, we got to see Han Solo be the most Han Solo he's ever been, ever.
Yep.
Also, when they were walking into Maz's place, he gave Rey and Finn basically the same warning as he did to Leia about going to Cloud City, about Lando. Just sort of like, don't stare like that. It's like it felt very much like, be careful.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that warning at all.
So they're walking into Maz's palace thing.
No, that I meant for Bespin.
Oh, he didn't say don't stare in Bespin. I'm just saying like it was the same sort of tone to me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked. You know what? This is a weird thought. I've never seen Chewie's hands or feet before this movie. Like an up close look at them.
Yeah, I did notice that he actually had like ape-looking fingers and stuff.
Yeah. When he pressed, never noticed
it before.
Never noticed that. And he you could see his feet, and he's got like 5 toes.
Yeah.
Never once have I seen nor have I ever thought to think what they look like.
Right.
But now that I've seen them, I'm like, I feel more complete now. I feel better about this.
All right.
It was weird.
I'm happy for you.
Do you think there was a missed opportunity for Chewie to start pulling some arms off some people after Han dies? I don't know if I want to. Go ahead. I asked you the question, so I don't know why I'm answering it.
I don't think he should have. I think that in his rage, maybe he would have, in his despair, but I don't think he should have. I'm fine with him not.
I'm fine with him shooting. Like, I think it would be more awkward for him to like throw the weapon down just to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not an animal. He's thinking just like anybody else.
Yeah.
And so for him to go into like a rage,
it would have been
it would make him seem more like an animal.
Yeah,
and it wouldn't make sense to me.
He would have been killed or captured if he had.
Yeah, I agree. Though I really do one day want to see some. I want to see some arm pulling. They've been threatening it for too long.
Pulling their arms out of their sockets.
Yeah, even a droid.
I want to see him lose chess.
You want to see what?
I want to see him lose hollow chess, so he'll pull someone's arms out of their sockets.
Did you notice that the hollow chess figure that gets smashed in New Hope takes revenge in this movie?
No.
Yeah, it goes back and smashes him with a hammer a couple of times.
Notice.
I didn't notice till the 4th time, but he gets lifted up and dropped.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
New Hope, and this time he smashes the opponent with his mallet.
I did hear someone say that like the pieces pick up where they left off. So like, does it pick up from him having been thrown down and then he stands up and smashes the other one with a hammer? Or?
I honestly don't remember if he stood up.
Yeah, I wouldn't have remembered exactly where the pieces stood. So that's a detail that I would have missed. It would seem weird to me
that they never once played that game ever.
Since then,
it's like it's been 40 years.
Right.
Never once do they play the game.
Right. Yeah, that would be a little surprising.
Who was your favorite character in this movie?
That is a hard question.
Okay.
My favorite character was Han Solo. The best character was Rey.
Oh, okay.
Those are two different things.
Okay.
My favorite was Han, though. Yeah.
Okay. Mine, my favorite was Maz Kanata.
Ooh.
Yeah, who I just loved. As soon as she turned around, I was like, Han Solo.
Loved it.
And I was like, yes, I love everything about this character. Where's my boyfriend?
That was so great.
Yeah.
Where's my boyfriend?
I liked that Wookiee. Yeah. I loved her.
Yeah,
she was awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't think she was as weird as I didn't think she needed a warning. That was what I thought was weird.
I thought so too.
Hey, she's a little weird. I'm like, she seems pretty normal. I mean, she's crawling across the table, but I've seen weirder things.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Ray's vision, because you had something to say about that. About there being 3 different Obi-Wans.
Yeah, there were 2, but they almost had a third.
You could
in there.
hear Ray,
right,
from Alec Guinness, which they took from the word afraid.
Right, don't be afraid.
Yeah, right. And then you can hear Ray. These are your first steps, said by Ewan McGregor.
So originally, the Ewan McGregor line was recorded by James Arnold Taylor.
I did know
who
this.
Voiced him in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
But then when they knew they could get Ewan McGregor, they used that instead.
Yeah, I did know that. Yeah. Okay.
Also, Frank Oz is in there.
That was a little misleading when you said there were almost 3.
They almost had a third one, a third person who had played Obi-Wan.
No, he did. James Arnold Taylor did record the line.
Yeah, but they didn't use it. That's why I'm saying almost.
But then no, that's not how math works, right? No, right. So if James Arnold Taylor's in there and Alec Guinness, there's 2.
Yeah,
right. But James Arnold Taylor's got deleted. And replaced with Ewan McGregor, so there's still only 2.
Correct.
It's not like they got James Arnold Taylor to say something different.
All I said was they almost used all 3 actors. That's really all I meant. That's it. There were 3 actors who've ever voiced Obi-Wan, and they almost used all 3 of them, but they didn't.
That's not how I took that sentence at all. Okay. It sounded like each different actor who played Obi-Wan would say something different, hence there being like 3 different Obi-Wans.
This is awesome radio.
Yeah, well, maybe somebody else was confused too.
Okay, maybe.
Just saying. This whole time, by the way, since I've been flipping through this book trying to find one thing.
Have you really? I didn't know if you were just flipping through like.
No, I'm looking for literally one thing and I can't find it, and so I'm just going to ask you.
Oh,
what is the place that the very last scene of the movie where they filmed?
Oh, well, that's so that I mean I don't know what planet it is.
No, like the real place. It's in Ireland. Yeah. Do you remember what it's called?
Cliffs of Moher, I guess. I don't know.
No, it's that's why I was looking for it.
I don't know where they really shot it. I just know it's Ireland. That's all I really know.
Okay. Well, the fun fact about this, that was my whole point for me flipping through this book. That's okay. The fun fact is it's an old Christian mystic monastery.
Oh, cool.
Where Christian mystics lived for like 600 years.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they didn't digital edit it or anything at all.
Oh,
so
nice.
this ancient mystical place in our real world is also the mystical temple of the Jedi.
Like the first temple. That's so cool.
I thought, isn't that cool?
That's a super cool fact.
And I was just trying to find the name of the place and I couldn't find it. So
you can use your one lookup.
I tried.
Oh,
I failed.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that is a really. I did not know that. So that's a really cool fact.
Right?
I didn't know it was a real monster.
Yeah.
That makes sense with the steps and all that. That does make sense.
Yeah. Also, when you see those, it makes sense that Mark Hamill almost died.
Oh yeah,
on them.
Absolutely. Although,
yeah,
it turns out that the tabloids overblew that. He tripped and got a cut. And they turned it into he almost fell off the cliff. It was nowhere near. He was nowhere near.
Well, that's better and typical, I guess. But that is better.
What I really want to know is how did they close the Millennium Falcon door on Harrison Ford's foot? Oh, of course, you found it now.
It was literally 2 pages away.
All right,
from where I was.
What is it?
Skellig.
Skellig. Okay.
Skellig. Yep.
Is it like Skellig Castle or something, or just called Skellig?
It just says Skellig.
Okay.
I can't help
you
any more than that.
That's cool.
Yep. Said the location needs nothing done to it. It's an amazing place. Just put the Falcon there and it's enough.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yep. It's cool.
That's super cool. Yeah, so Rey's vision. I really just love that. I all 4 times that I watched it, I felt like I didn't.
I feel like you got something new out of it every
time.
Right?
Yeah, there was not one time that I think I've maybe seen all of most of the little details and touches, not everything, but most of them. But there was no one viewing where I felt like I saw them all this one time. Like I saw some the first time, I saw some the second time, some the third, some the fourth, and by the fourth, I feel like I'd seen most of it. So like I followed everything that was happening. You see, like I didn't really get the first time. I didn't notice that the hallway we see behind her is
Cloud City. That's
Cloud City.
Vader. It's where Vader pops out of nowhere. Yeah.
Didn't get that the first time.
And so, what would be interesting though? This is what I thought because I didn't notice that the first time either.
Yeah.
But what I did think is that the direction she's pretty much facing towards the camera, away from the hallway. She's looking at Vader and Luke's fight.
Oh yeah, probably
out on the ledge over there. She's seeing it from another angle.
Distance,
yeah. So. Yeah, we would be in the place of their fight.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where the camera is. Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
But there's that. There, and apparently, so you can't. I did hear at one point. I heard Luke yelling no during that.
Yep, I heard that. Yep.
You see Luke's hand reaching out to touch R2D2.
Do you think that's the future or the past?
So there's a lot of, I think, future and past there.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
Not sure what that is. I think that is Luke sending off R2D2 for the last time.
Yeah.
In the past, I think it's like the.
Oh, yeah.
Pass after the Knights of Ren do their stuff.
Okay.
Then we actually see the Knights of Ren, and Kylo Ren kills someone who's about to attack Rey, which I don't know if that's just a circumstance of the vision, or if that's actually something that's going to happen or has happened or what. That my first thought. See, you said that you thought that was them ransacking the Jedi Temple or whatever. Mm-hmm. My first thought was what if this is in the future and hasn't happened yet? But you could be right. I'm coming around to your point of view now.
That's true. I didn't think about it the other way because we know the Knights of Ren already exist because Snoke says that
Master of the Knights of Ren,
right? And so, but that's
so it could be the future or the past. I'm not sure.
The future or the past. Yeah.
We see Rey's family leaving her.
Yep.
Yeah. So that we see a few different things there.
Do you think that it's a little bit of a Rey is hidden to protect her kind of thing?
Yeah, that's what I don't know. That really depends on who her parents are.
There's a bit of information in the book, and then so when you get to that part in the book,
don't tell me.
I won't.
Okay,
I won't. But there's going to be a couple of things about the Vision and Snoke.
Okay, cool.
Not connected. I should say those are not. They are not
two separate
connected.
Things,
they're two separate. They're things that I would like to talk about with you, and so or people who have read the book, I'd like to talk to you about it too. And so nothing that really gives any more information to the conversation that we just had, but I think rounds some sharp edges that we don't quite know yet.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Cool. While we're talking about Ireland, a criticism I have is that the very, very, very final shot, the helicopter shot, does not feel Star Wars to me at all.
No, not at all.
That was really the one shot that I was like, that just is not in the. Someone described it as it's not like the visual language of Star Wars.
Yeah, that's the George Lucas flair I was talking about. It's missing that,
and I feel like the movie has it elsewhere. I think JJ took the Lucas flair and improved upon it, like putting camera in different, more interesting places and different angles and stuff like that. But this was one place where I was like, I just see it as a helicopter shot.
Yeah.
And like, I shouldn't be thinking about helicopters in Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like
the whole thing just felt that whole sequence, that ending sequence felt very long. The first time.
They were just staring at each other for like a minute.
Yeah, and the couple of times I really watched Mark Hamill's face. I was really looking at what Luke was saying without saying anything. Because Rey, I would say, is just kind of like expressing herself. Like she has learned to communicate telepathically with the Force at this point because like she's witnessed this a couple of times between her flashes with the lightsaber. With Luke in Maz Kanata's castle, and then the way Kylo Ren probes her brain and how she resists.
And she can read his mind too. Yeah.
Right, she can read his mind, which then leads her to control the stormtrooper. Which people were down on that. They said, how could she do that? And I said, well, if
every time she sees Kylo Ren do something, I feel like she learns how to do that too.
Sort of. He doesn't control anyone in front of her.
No, but he's able to use to tap into her mind. I feel like the Jedi mind trick is sort of the same in the same vein.
I agree, and I think even that's that opposite effect. Well, if I can prevent him from going in, can I make somebody do something?
That's right.
Yeah, I
think that she is sort of like
she's testing.
Yeah, and she's learning by watching.
Yeah,
she's like, oh, well, if he can do that, I bet I can do it too.
And on top of all of that, she has grown up in this existence of observing, being quiet and figuring and surviving and figuring it out on her own, basically. So there is that the survivalist instinct is very strong within her,
and I think the two of them seem to be much stronger in the Force, naturally stronger in the Force than maybe anyone we've ever seen other than Anakin.
And I think maybe that's the awakening.
Yes,
that's the awakening part. Yeah,
yes. I think these are two very strong Force sensitive people who neither of whom are fully trained. Her less than him, but both kind of lacking good training in the Force. So they're very powerful, but they don't know how to harness that power yet.
Right. Well, even Snoke says, like, he tells Hux, bring Kylo Ren to me. It's time to complete his training.
Yeah.
So he's not done yet either.
No, he's not a Sith Lord. He's not. He's clearly, you see some failings and weaknesses of his.
He doesn't actually even have any Sith powers. Like, he doesn't choke anybody. Nope. He chokes him with his hand.
You're right, but I think that's a choice. I don't think that doesn't mean he can't.
See, I think that's a
no. I completely disagree. No, if he can pick them up, the choking is just like telekinesis, like picking them up.
See, I've always thought of it as like there are certain, maybe because he's just like that's how you play the video games.
Yeah,
but either way,
I've never seen it that way.
You don't like there are some things that you can't do if you're not a Sith Lord. Like if you haven't completed that round of training
yet. If you can pick someone up, why can't you just close their neck?
I know. I don't know. Maybe it is a choice. You're probably right.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
And that's his style. Is
but
more
he doesn't
like, I want to put my hand on your throat.
He doesn't have Force lightning. Okay.
That I will, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
that seems to be something even Vader didn't have.
Well, yeah, because Vader had electrical. Well, I don't think Vader. I think Vader could do it, but Vader had electrical hands.
Oh, see, I saw it as he wasn't strong enough in the wasn't progressed to that level where he had that power yet.
Yeah, see, I think he could.
Okay.
Because Dooku could use it.
Yes, but I think Dooku was at a different level.
You think Dooku was stronger than Vader?
No, I think he was just at a different had more training, had more.
Oh yeah, see, I always took it as Darth Vader has robot hands, so you can't.
Right, that makes sense too. I didn't thought about it that way, but that does make sense. Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
I buy that.
Yeah.
I buy that.
What And it's not like you could send it out of any other orifice because that was all covered too.
Yeah.
It's just, Darth Vader sending electricity out of his mouth and his nose.
His electro tongue.
I'd watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be weird, but I'd watch it. Yeah. And so, that helicopter shot, and
it took me out of it for a second.
Yeah, but I was really looking at everything that Luke was saying with his face, and that last time I watched it, he has some tears in his eyes. Like, it's not just like I'm staring at you intently. It's like he's actually starting to cry.
Yep.
And so I think there's a lot. She's telling him a lot. Like, she's basically catching him up on all the events of this movie.
I think of it less as like she's talking to him and more that he's
probing her mind.
He is sort of, yeah. He's sensing it through the Force. Like he's right. Yeah. The same way like he senses anyone's presence or anything like that. He senses her presence and he senses her feelings and pain and whatever, and can figure out, like, I think in that moment he knows that Han's dead. He knows like all these things that have happened. I think he probably felt it in the Force already, and when she gets there, he probably knew she was coming.
Yeah,
well,
yeah, because if Leia can feel Han's death through the Force,
which the first time I was watching it, I was like, oh, I guess she like heard it over like the radio thing, right? I guess that's what happened. And the second time I was like, no, you dummy, she felt it in the Force.
Yeah, you just forgot everything about Star Wars.
Kind of in that moment. And when I was like, oh, I guess it's like when they heard that like Red Leader died or whatever, like. Oh, okay. It's just like that. Like they heard over the.
Oh yeah.
But then like the second time I was like, nope. Obviously.
See, that's really funny that you said that, because the first I saw it and I was like, it's the Force,
right.
But to me, like, if you don't remember that Leia's Force, like, in any way Force sensitive,
yeah, you could. Yeah, I guess that's true.
That's a very strange thing to what you just witnessed at that moment. Yeah. I like that she's not a Jedi too.
Yes, I like it too.
Yeah, I like that. Like, you can be a musician, but you don't have to be a professional musician.
That's exactly how I explained it to someone the other day.
Yeah.
Same with Maz. Like, she is somewhat Force sensitive. She knows the Force. I'm no Jedi, but I know the Force. I think it's the same thing. It's like she has some level of Force sensitivity, but
they don't train it enough because that's not their calling.
I explained it like you might have a singing voice but never have taken lessons.
Right.
Like.
Right. It's no different.
You can carry a tune in the shower. Doesn't mean you're a professional singer.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's exactly right. Because not everybody wants to be.
Right.
Yeah. As Qui-Gon says, it's a hard life.
Mm-hmm. For us, it's a hard knock.
Oh my God! Why has nobody done that yet?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, anyway. Yeah. So there's a lot. What do you think of the general look of Luke Skywalker?
I mean, I kind of knew what he was going to look like already from like leaked photos and that one leaked photo we saw and everything. So
where he's just standing there amongst the lights, like
but
that picture.
So like I thought that photo, I don't really remember where he was standing, to be honest. I just remember it looking vaguely spaceship like.
Oh, I thought it was like a soundstage.
I didn't know what it was. I hadn't seen it in so long. I saw it very briefly. I didn't want to look at it more than once. So I only looked at it once, like 6 months ago or whenever it came out. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really remember what the backdrop looked like. I was expecting to see him in a setting like that. I was like, we saw his hand on R2, right? And I was like, okay, like in my sort of mental checklist of like, oh, we saw that in the trailer. It's like, well, I know that in like that photo I saw like 6 months ago, he kind of looked like he was maybe like on a ship or something, like on the bridge of a ship or something. I don't remember exactly what it looked like. Maybe it was just a soundstage. Maybe you're right. But in my mind, that's what it was from my dim memory of it. So I was like, okay, so next time we see him, we're going to see him again. And it's going to be like indoors somewhere. And I was like, okay, well, this doesn't see, I mean, I don't see where we'd be. I'm looking for a place that looks like that, but I'm not seeing anything that looks like that. This is weird. And then like I saw outdoors and I'd heard something about Ireland. I was like, oh, okay, this is it. And the music's starting to sound like it's going to, oh, there's Luke's theme. Okay, it's wrapping up.
Yep, it's over now.
Directed by J.J. Abrams. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Oh my God, I missed it. I was thinking about it the whole time and didn't pay attention.
I thought maybe Luke was going to come in and...
The snow fight scene, right?
Snow fight scene?
Yeah.
Or somewhere else. Yeah, snow fight scene was definitely one place that I thought.
Yeah, I thought when the lightsaber whipped out of the snow,
then he would come in.
I thought it was going to be him holding it, and I was not disappointed it was Rey.
Yeah.
But I was like, I wasn't expecting it. I know that's the point, but I wasn't expecting it for two reasons now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I kind of thought it might be Luke. But yeah. Interesting that no one lost a limb in this movie.
Yes.
I thought that Kylo Ren was going to lose an arm. a couple times. It looked like at one point Finn got a good shot in. It looked like maybe he was going to lose his arm, but then he didn't.
Yep.
And then Rey got a couple shots in where I thought, but then no. And then at the very end when she like kicked his lightsaber or knocked his lightsaber out of his hand, I was like, she's going to cut off his hand.
Yep.
And then the Earth split, and so she didn't. But the planet split.
So I always associate the limb loss with the second film.
Yep.
Not the first not in each trilogy.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
So it didn't shock me that nobody lost because Luke loses his hand, Anakin loses his arm, and those are the second films. And so, I mean, you could count Mos Eisley Cantina as limb loss, and you can count Vader losing his hand in Jedi when Luke cuts it off. But to me, like,
or Darth Maul getting cut in half.
It's not really
not a limb, but
limbs lost.
Yeah.
To me, hand loss is tradition.
A second movie thing.
The second movie thing.
Okay, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about it quite that way, but that's very interesting. Yeah, that's a good thought. That's a good point.
Yeah, because if these movies, if these lives, these destinies are cycling themselves through, then it would make sense even from the story point for someone to lose a limb in the second part.
The second film. Yeah.
Maybe it'll be Kylo Ren on his journey to become more like Darth Vader.
Maybe.
Maybe he'll do it himself.
Maybe he'll beg someone to cut his hand off.
How crazy would that be? He's nuts. I love it.
I
love it.
Yeah, he's going to do some seriously messed up stuff.
His lightsaber, which I think I shared with you before, is all crackly and stuff.
Yes.
Because the things that power lightsabers are called kyber crystals, and his has a crack in it, which is why it's all wavy and he has two exhaust ports.
Flamey.
Yeah, flamey.
That was the idea of Johnny Ive, who's the guy who designs all of Apple's products.
Really?
He's their
I didn't know
industrial
that.
designer.
No.
He met with J.J. Abrams and talked. He was like, I think the lightsabers should be more spitty. That was the word he used, spitty. Like they should look like staticky and stuff. And that's exactly what they did for this one.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Even though when at the very beginning when Kylo Ren stops the blaster,
that was so cool.
I was like,
God, how would we not mention that yet?
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, that kind of signaled to me like you're going to see stuff you've never seen before, and it's going to be fine.
Yep.
And I was like, that is so freaking cool. And like the fact that looked kind of like that too, where it kind of had that staticky, like it wanted to move.
Yeah.
And I think it's a little bit of okay, they had an in-universe explanation here where the kyber crystal's cracked. That's fine. But I think it's also just like, we can do this now.
Yeah, I agree.
So we will.
We will give you something new to look at.
It can be more than just like a smooth, clean line on the screen. It can be like this flamey, living, moving thing.
It's kind of a nice even allusion to his character. He's unstable.
Yeah.
Like every time he instead of killing, I think that part of the character is so brilliant in which you think this is going to go, he's going to kill this guy. Instead he just destroys the computers instead. That's awesome. Because he's just like that petulant child.
Yes.
Which you said before in, I think, our last episode, works so
well.
It works so well in a way that maybe Anakin's didn't. Though I just watched Star Wars with somebody who had never seen them before. He's like, maybe I should catch up and finally see what everyone's talking about.
Man.
So will you come watch Star Wars with me? So I said, okay.
Oh, you did Machete Order, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, the original intention was going to not do Machete Order. He suggested Machete Order. But I said, well, if you want to see the movie sooner, then let's just do original trilogy first because the prequels don't really have much standing. You won't need them in the same way. And his sister wanted to watch Jedi with him because that one's her favorite. And so he said, and we had watched 4 and 5 at that point, and he was like, well, I guess we'll do Machete Order.
Oh.
and so I showed him parts of 1.
Okay.
To give him, because there's mentions of Qui-Gon and all these different things that I thought maybe
would help with 2 and 3.
Maybe that would help with 2 and 3. And it did, actually. It helped a lot. He finished up and he was like, I kind of like the prequels more because he liked the underdog of Anakin, the plight of that character. And so I haven't seen him since he has seen 6 and 7. So I'll be curious for the rest of that conversation. I don't remember what got me on that little tangent, but Machete Order works, people.
Cool.
Yeah, unless you don't want them to like the prequels because yeah.
You were talking about Kylo Ren being like a petulant Anakin.
My point was that side of Anakin that didn't work for so many people worked for my friend. He really liked Anakin. He really sympathized with him, and really felt for him.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool. I would like to hear, like you said, you hadn't heard from him since he saw 7. I'd like to hear like what he thinks now.
He did. Well, I haven't seen him, but he did. I haven't. He liked Jedi because he texted. He was giving me reactions as he was watching it, which I actually gave away the ending by accident because I read. He said Padme, and I thought he wrote Palpatine.
Oh,
and so I think he said Vader. He said Vader thinks he killed Padme, right? And I thought it was Palpatine.
Yeah.
Palpatine. So I said, well, yeah, the Death Star is blown up, so I'm pretty sure that Palpatine is dead. But
he's like, I didn't know that.
No, actually, I don't think he read it the right way either.
Okay.
And so he was like, okay, cool, that's what I thought. And I was like, okay, I think I'm okay.
Well,
whoops.
Everything's fine here. How are you?
Yeah, right? Yes, boring conversation.
Anyway,
Look,
we're going to have company. Have you seen that meme where it's like Han in the kitchen?
Yeah, look, we're going to have company.
Best thing. Listen, we're coming up on another hour here.
Oh, jeez.
So I want to propose something. Let's have final closing thoughts, and then anything we don't get to talk about today, let's do a commentary for episode 7 when it comes out.
Great idea.
We've done it for the other 6.
Yeah,
we'll do it for episode 7. So any thoughts we don't get to share today, we'll share when we watch the movie together with all our listeners. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Closing. Whatever you're going to say. Closing thoughts.
Can you start? Because I wasn't prepared. Yeah.
I thought it was the funniest Star Wars movie by far of any of them. Like truly funny, not like slapstick funny, not like Jar Jar and droid, battle droids and all that stuff. Funniest, maybe cleverest, best character development, and maybe as a standalone, maybe one of the most enjoyable of any of them. Not my favorite. I'm going to put it at number 3 behind 4 and 5, but it's in the top 3 now. It's in the top 3 out of 7. And I really, really enjoyed it. I've seen it 4 times. I'm probably gonna take a little break and then see it again. I've seen it 4 times in the first week and a half that it's been out. But it is a thrill ride. It is a Star Wars movie that we deserved, I think, after all these years. And I'm just happy that it's back. I'm just really happy that Star Wars is back, and it's going to be like a thing again for the foreseeable future. So those are my state rests, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, it seems to me that dogs can wear long pants.
Yes.
I agree with a lot of what you said, especially it being the funniest of the Star Wars movies. I want to say that to me, BB-8 is the breakout character.
Oh, we didn't even talk about him.
We didn't talk about BB-8 at all. But that the thumbs up particularly was the thing that really.
Oh man!
But there's a lot. A lot of reactions that BB-8 had were kind of on point, and he was more like a little happy dog than anything else. He was, like a little, like when he rolls back from Finn, and he's like, "I'm not with the Resistance." What? Yeah. And then you're like, "Go BB-8, tell her."
Yeah.
Yeah. There was just a lot of really great moments with that. Every character really had a good moment.
Yeah.
Except for I think Phasma.
Yeah.
And even I think Luke's like 30 seconds were better than what Phasma had.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
There was just more weight to what was going on in
absolutely.
that without any text. And so, I liked it a lot. I actually don't know where I'm placing it on my favorite scale. I don't know where I'm placing it on my favorite scale. I'm gonna hazard maybe 4. I think the original trilogy just might take it for me as a complete unit.
Okay.
Because I flip-flop on my favorite. People always ask, and like sometimes it's Empire, sometimes it's Jedi, sometimes it's New Hope.
Yeah.
Like it sometimes it's Revenge of the Sith. Like there's just a lot of good moments in all of those different places.
Yeah.
So
I've done the same over the years, so I understand.
Yeah. We didn't talk about the music of this movie.
No, we didn't get a chance to,
which
either.
we probably won't do during a commentary.
No, we probably will.
Because
we probably will.
This thing that we can't hear right now, it sounds really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But by that time we will have seen it some more times, so
but
more to say. But yeah.
But the wrap up, I thought the music was real good about building on different themes and giving us hints about things that we didn't really talk about. But there's a lot of hints at different things to come that the music.
There's some foreshadowing in the music of things that will happen later.
Yeah, which is real good to listen. So. Yeah, so I know we're going to continue on with this for a while if we don't stop now. So
it's true.
And so you can find us at Twitter at Beer with Geeks, at twitter.com, facebook.com/beerwithgeeks, beerwithgeeks@gmail.com. Leave us reviews on iTunes and Stitcher Radio
and
Overcast
and
and all the other things.
Yeah.
We appreciate, and
we do.
Until next time,
Yes.
my friend. Cheers.
Cheers.